All right, welcome to part 3 of our digital landscapes. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get talking about what we are going to do to finish up. And honestly, this is my favorite part because we get to do all of the details and then I get to see your artwork. So it's very exciting. All right, so I've already done the background, which for me was the clouds, sky. That'll probably be that way for you. Middle ground was my hills, and I did the background for that lake area that I have. Yours will be different depending on which one, what you have is your middle ground area. And then now we're going to finish up and add those details. So let's go and look at my image right here. I have a bunch of trees that are in my foreground. I love this because if you will notice, color changes on landscapes as we go from very far back to our foreground. What's happening is all of that dust and dirt and everything else is clouding things up, and it's changing color and it's changing that detail because we can't see all that detail in the distance. I know that there's probably the same trees that are right here back there, but they look bluer back behind me, and they change color and they look more green, and they have much more detail. So if I zoom in on this, I have zoomed into 200% right here. And what we notice is that I can almost see those like needles on the tree. Now remember when we went back and we got the deer and we did all those different parts? I'm going to do that too, because sometimes it can be frustrating if you make a really detailed shape and it closes up on you. So I find it's better to select that Polyline tool and then come in and make some. So I can see this one looks like a little Christmas tree coming around. Be careful. So I'm going to go ahead and close that shape up. Now, I always change this to transparent, and then I'm going to go in and pick a green color. So I'm going to pick a dark green color right here. I might change that in a minute, but we'll see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Zoom in, right? So we can get a little bit closer in here. Always. If you can't see it, get further in. So Polyline tool selected, haven't touched anything else. Now if I come in and any of these shapes that I do, it's going to automatically default and put that green color on there. So if I mess up one of these little ones, it's okay, because I can just delete it, start back over. If it closes up on me, no problem. I am again, unfortunately, I forgot to grab my mouse. So I'm doing it on the mouse pad. Do find it's always better to use a mouse if you have one. It saves my fingers, just that clicking. So I told you guys I used to be graphic designer, we'll call it a digital artist. And oh gosh, I'm making a big shape and I didn't even realize that. Very brave of me, because if it closes up on me, I'm going to say what you guys normally do. I'm like, oh, and I hear that. But I made it. Ooh, geez, should have made it a little bit small, smaller shapes. But anyways, I was a digital artist, so all day long, I found myself using my computer and using my mouse pad, and so I've developed processes that help me. Definitely sitting in a good position, having a good mouse, definitely key things to have. So now I'm getting back on track. I'm doing smaller shapes. So far I look okay. I haven't changed the color of any of these. I could, and I'll show you that too. Add a little extra detail. But I've spent a fair amount of time doing this grouping right now. Now, I am going to spend, let me go back to fit. Let's go back over and look at what I got. So you can see I've just done this top area. Oh, maybe I want to finish up. You see where I'm going though. Get this bottom right here. This is pretty much a just gonna make that all like Like it's gotten thicker right there, so I can't see through all those. Okay, great. Now, if you remember, what we've done before is we had to select each one of these. Select, 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 select. Well, you might miss something. So watch what I do here is that I am going to click out here. So let's imagine right here, I'm not touching this. See how my cursor changes? I want to get this blank area right here, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag over to down here at the bottom right here underneath. So again, I'm going to click up here, click and drag. Okay, that's going to make sure I get everything. But unfortunately, you can see right here, that's selected right here, that is the background image. So holding the Shift key down, I click on that and it deselects that background because I don't want that. I just want all these shapes. Let's do this again. So again, Shift key's held down on the keypad, click, and now I've got everything right here. I'm going to group this. So arrange, group. Now all of those pieces are together. So now let's go to fit. Fit. And Shift keys held down, that locks it. So when I pull it over, it's not going to go up or down. And I'm going to drag it over on top. Cool. Now I can change up the colors if I want to, but I'm going to spend a good amount of time just doing all of these trees right here. I'll show you something in a second, but okay, let's say, come back over here, what's some other things that I can do? Now you'll notice right here in these rocks right here, I'm going to add a bit of realism to this. So you might have an object and it might have a shadow, or in this case, my shadow goes into the water. I'll show you another cool tool for an object like this. So I'm going to click on this object right here, and I'm going to go to Format Options. And then right here, there's Reflection. Yours might be closed up like this, but I'm going to click Yes, I want a reflection. Let's see what we have options to do. So there is a slider that says transparency, so it's going to lighten the reflection down a little bit. Distance, how far away do you want to go? Well, I don't want it to look like it's going way down. It looks like that shape is hovering when it's not tight. So I'm going to make it go right up next to it. And then I can change the size. It could be really short, like a little short shadow, or it could be really long. Ah, that looks cool. So I'm just going to add a bit of realism. So that's reflection. So again, think about like a person or an object or anything like that that's going to cast a shadow from the sun. That would be something really cool to add. I'm going to go back and look right here. Notice here too, in my details, because I'm in detail phase, notice this highlight right here where it gets really, really white. Now again, it blurs here. So I have this. And I like how it goes dark to light. And again, this was my custom color. And it's going from here. So darker. Okay, so let's say I want to add a little bit of light, like this light right here. So I'm going to go to my shapes. Oh, I got my polyline. And then I'm going to add a shape right here, this highlight right here. So you can make decisions like this near the end, but I'm going to show you the adjustment that I have to make. Okay, so that closes. Now remember that that color, but I'm going to make this a solid color, and I'm going to make this like a really light gray. We'll see how that looks when I move it over. So holding the Shift key down, I'm going to move this over. Okay, so the problem that I have right now is, let's move over a little bit more. The problem that I have right now is it's on top of those objects. So I just need to bring that to the front. So I'm going to come over here to these rocks and arrange order. I'm going to bring those to the front. So I can make decisions like that at the end on detail. It's just I have to remember kind of play around with, you know, what's on top, what's not. I like this because it does add that little bit of realism that I have that. So let me move that over just a little bit so I can see a little bit more. Okay, Awesome. So again, I'm going to add more of these trees, and I've kind of already done that. Let me see if I can go. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I don't think that's in there. Hold on, let me move this around. Nope. Okay, yep. So I'd already made some more of these. Let me grab some of this just for right now so we can see what's going on. And let me go back. Sorry. Okay, I'm back to you. All right, so I'd already made some more of these right here. So let me just bring these over. Okay. Range. Order, bring to front. Okay, now we're gonna be able to see it. Because that's what I wanted you to see. See how these trees are really, really dark here? And then I have some right here that are a little bit lighter. So I can always use these kind of like in front. That adds a little bit of realism that things are, you know, in front of the other. So maybe I want to at the end come in here and have a few trees sitting right in front, and I want to make those two different green colors. That would really make it like stand out, more realistic, that if things get brighter, they get more intense and darker. Let's say intense and darker as we go into the foreground area. The last thing that I want to do, sure I'm zoomed in. Okay, the last thing, you can add some extra detail to this. Like say I would like, my photo doesn't have anything like a bird in it, but let's say I want to add something like a bird flying in here. Oops. So that was closing it up. So if I want a bird flying in on this scene, because again, I'm working on the details. The more details I can add to the foreground, the more realistic something's going to look. So I'm going to insert image, and I'm going to go look. I'm going to search the web for bird flying. Ooh, cool. Okay, so I have several different images of birds flying. So I don't want to make, so the reason why I'm doing this, here is some different birds flying. So maybe I want to use, I'm going to use something that I can use so I can trace as a template. Let's try this one. Insert. Now, this came in. Perfect example right now. I've got a lot of detail. I can see it. Something easy for me to trace, but it's much too large. So we're going to go ahead and use this just the way it is so that we can trace it. But then we're going to scale it down so it looks like it goes and it's realistic in our landscape. So I don't want to worry about all the darks and the lights and everything else on this. I just want to get a good silhouette that I can use. I think that would look really nice in my image. So we're going to do like we did the deer before. We're going to do the Polyline Tool, and let's do it in little chunks. Again, I think everybody would be happier if we made minimal amounts of a mess up. Again, line, transparent. I'm going to fill it. For right now, let's fill it. Let's do it purple, but we'll change that. Okay, so now I've still got the polylines. Now all of my other shapes will carry those same attributes. So you can get as detailed, but I know this is going to scale down, so I may not see all of those little bumps in the feathers on the outline. Oh gosh, I did it again. I get overly ambitious and I do a lot more object, and then, you know, I would get mad because it would close up on me. Is that in? Okay, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to go back selection tool. I'm going to try to select all of these shapes, and then I'm going to group, arrange, group. Okay, now let's delete this. Ooh, cool. All right, so he's way too big. So let's size this down. And maybe I want to change its color. Doesn't look like it quite goes. Let's change the color to maybe a green blue. Yeah. Awesome. So maybe, maybe he's flying near the lake and I haven't finished my trees yet, but you get the idea. I'll put him so where I can see him. Doesn't quite stand out. I could do it lighter. Kind of like them up here. Awesome. Okay, so that shows you the amount of detail. Finish up. All right, let me show you one more thing. So let's say you're doing a different scene and we have middle ground here that you've done, and there's really not a lot of detail down here that we can get. I can come over here and maybe I can work on the shadows, the darks and lights over here in this area in the sand. I haven't done that yet, so I possibly could add a little bit of detail down here. But this would be a great thing. Maybe I want to search for a camel to put my foreground. So that would be a good one. So insert image and search the web. To find a nice photo of a camel that I can outline and go around. All right, I'll kind of sneak around. I've already done that. So I've got a camel and I've drawn it. So put a shadow underneath here. We'll get to that in a second. All right. So here, if I do this camel and I make him like this, that does not go. He looks gigantic. He's on the same middle ground as these pyramids. I mean, actuality, he would be, oops, go back. He would be teeny tiny next to these pyramids. He would be like, barely see him. I mean, that's even too big, but we wanted him in the foreground, so we got to size him up. So he kind of fits if you're going to put him right there in the foreground. Now that looks, like it could be a good size, right in the foreground. Things are bigger in the front. Let's try, I'm just going to try this. I'm going to try that reflection. Oh, it reflects everything. So that's not going to work. Okay, I was just going to try that and see if it worked, but it doesn't. Let's try size and rotate. Let's copy, paste, and let's try, I'm just trying things out right now. Let's flip it. We're going to flip it vertically. Now, if I took this, let's say he's like this. And then let's change it to feel this, but we're going to say custom. And I'm going to change it to transparency. Oh, you see all those little way I build it up there. But you can kind of play around with that and see that's a kind of a one way. Or you could just come in and draw it out. So again, there's multiple ways that we can do this. So I can come in, I slightly curve. That's okay. Kind of round it off the shape. And make my own shadow. That's that transparency. I just used transparent. So the goal being, let me move this off so you can see this. The goal being is we want some detail in your foreground. So you can choose if you want to add to this and make some more detail, add another, depends on how intricate you want to make your landscape. All right, I cannot wait to see your art.